Would you like to learn how to make a door swag or a swag using all the materials I'm using here? Well, just keep watching and I'm going to give you a breakdown and step by step how to make one. To make this swag, you will need a length of rope, and you can make the rope as long as you wish. You'll need some real wire or mossing wire. You can purchase that in your local flower shop. You'll need a selection of foliage. I'm going to use a little bit of ivy, so if you cut your ivy maybe into 15 centimetre lengths approximately. And what I'm also going to use is a little bit of silver Sussex, which happens to be in flower at the moment. So again, if you cut your silver Sussex maybe into lengths about 15 centimetres, any of them little long ones, I'm just going to cut them off there. And what I want you to do is make bunches with the foliage. So maybe taking up a little bit of ivy, taking up a little bit of silver Sussex, bunching them together, and then using 20 gauge wires. So these are your 20 gauge wires, which again you can buy in a local flower shop. I'm making what we call a hairpin bend, and I'm going to wrap the wire around the ends of them to hold them all together. And again, the number of bunches depends on the length of the rope. So while I'm making mine, you can then kind of count the bunches and you can decide then, do you want to make yours a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. So I have over 20 little bunches. You can see they're not all exactly the same. And again, you can choose to make them as chunky or as full or as skinny as you want. So I have a lot of them bunches made up in advance just to save time. I have my rope ready, I have my real wire ready. I'm going to use some hydrangeas, which I've actually dried myself. So what I did with the hydrangeas, first of all, I conditioned them really well. So that would mean like by submerging the heads in water for about 15-20 minutes at a time and then standing them back up the right way. Also what I do is when I'm cutting the ends, I cut them on a 45-degree angle, I place them in water, I put flower food into the water, and I normally dip them in a solution called Quick Dip, which is a hydrator for the flowers. What I would recommend, if you're interested in drying your hydrangeas yourself, is go to our blog page on the website flowerschoolisland.com. Scroll down till you see the blog button, and then scroll down till you see how to prolong the life of hydrangeas. And you will get a lot of information there, how I condition and I treat my hydrangeas. So when these hydrangeas were nearly 2 weeks old, so they had got past their good sell-by date, if you want to call it, what I just then did was I got some of them 20 gauge wires, hooked a wire around the end of the stem, and I just hung them. Basically here in the school we would have baskets hanging from the ceiling, so I just hooked the wire around the baskets and let them hang like that. But you can hang them out the banisters at the top of your door, or a door rail, a hanger rail, anything at all. Just basically hang them up. I didn't do it anywhere dark or dry, like just basically hang them up and they dried themselves naturally. You know what I mean? Really the secret is conditioning them really well. For decoration, finishing it off, I'm going to use a little bit of Hessian ribbon and a little bit of organza, you know. So this is just kind of like a moss green and then our natural kind of Hessian. Again, you can decide what colour or what type of bow you would like to add to your one. So first of all, decide what length you want to make your swag. I'm not doing it any particular length. I'm going to guess. I'm going to go for about that length there. This rope cuts really easy. Here I am, really easy. I'm going to use my other knife. It wasn't that easy, was it? Cuts through really easy using one of the sharp florist knives. So obviously this one was a lot sharper than the last one. So what you're going to do is you get your, eating my own hair there. Get your first bunch of, I'm looking kind of for a skinny one. First bunch of greenery that you have ready wired, and you're going to place it on the end of your rope, and this is going to be the end of the swag. Do you see, hanging on your door or hanging on your wall? So what I'm now going to do is attach on the real wire. Sometimes it's easier to attach the real wire before you actually start. So I'm just getting the beginning of the real wire. Don't unravel these real wires, keep them kind of like nice and close. And what you just do is wrap the real wire around the end of the rope 2, 3 or 4 times just to attach it to get it started. You see, like so there. You could use a bunch of twine, by the way, and it would do the same job. I'm now going to get my bunch of greenery, rest it on the end of the rope where I attached the real wire, and I'm now going to wrap that real wire around the stems where they were wired and just a little bit past the stem. And again, I'm wrapping the wire around about 4 times. If you'd like to keep the rope skinny, you can have all your bunches basically in a straight line, one behind the other. But if you want to make it a little bit chunky, I would find go a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, and that will make it a little bit chunky. So I want to make mine chunky. So what I'm now going to do is add in an extra piece of greenery, like slightly lower, but a little bit to the right hand side. And again, I'm going to use the real wire to wrap around there to hold it. And then at the same time, I'm going to add in a little bunch to the left-hand side. And again, I'm going to wrap my real wire around it. I'm going to hold this up now, just so you can see how it's turning out. So now I'm going to lie it back down on the table, and I'm going to add in a hydrangea at that stage. So I'm just picking up one of my hydrangea heads, if I'll just get you to pass the hydrangea heads, and I'm just going to rest it. I'm just looking for one that's a bit more roundy looking. Here we go. So I'm just going to rest this hydrangea head just down there at the bottom. Now you can have started it off at the very first one. I've chosen to kind of like wait until I'm back a little bit further. My real wire has just unravelled a bit, so I'm just going to roll that back there, catch in the stem of the hydrangea on top of the greenery, and now I'm going to wrap the real wire around the stem of the hydrangea, again 2 or 3 times, make sure that it's really caught on, and then I'm kind of coming back a little bit, add a little bit of greenery out to one side, as in to your left, and then maybe add in a little bunch of greenery, maybe into the right hand side. And depending on your bunches, you might decide ever so often to add in an extra bunch of greenery. If you feel you need it, don't skimp on it. When I'm making the bunches, I don't have them all the same size. Now you can choose to leave spaces in between your hydrangeas. I'm going to keep mine kind of fairly close together. I'm just going to add in one more little bunch of greenery just under the hydrangeas. I'm going to hold this up now so you can see what it's looking like so far. And now I'm going to add in another hydrangea flower. So there'll be the hydrangea, a little bit of greenery, and then a second hydrangea flower. So there's just a tiny little bit of space in between them. But you could choose to keep them further apart or a lot closer. So again, that's what it looks like so far. Now you could leave it at that. If you thought that was big enough for your door, you could leave it like that. I'm going to go a little bit longer. For the demonstration, it's more interesting. So I'm going to add in another bunch of greenery to the right hand side, catch that in with the real wire, a little bunch of greenery to the left hand side, catch that in with the real wire. And it's great, you don't see the rope, like you will see the rope at the back, and afterwards I'll show you what the rope looks like. And then I'm going to add in a little bunch of greenery just in under the last hydrangea that I placed in, because then I'm ready for the third hydrangea flower, and it just means I'll have that little bunch of greenery kind of in between it. Now this greenery will probably dry out on the rope. Now not as dry as in a dried flower as such, but Silver Sussex is a fantastic foliage for just drying out, like you know what I mean, when you catch it onto any material. And the fresh ivy just lasts, like ivy is a great lasting foliage, it's just inclined to last for ages. So again, you can just catch it on. Some of the leaves might go black after about 2-3 weeks and might fall off, but you'd be amazed how much of it is still going to be there. So this is kind of showing you, if you have any hydrangeas maybe growing in your own garden, where if you brought them in, conditioned and treated them, what you can do. And hopefully if you have some ivy and the Silver Sussex also growing, then I'm just going to hold this up just so that you can get the effect of it, how it's working out. Now again, that might be long enough. I'm just going to go another tiny bit. But this could work out very inexpensive to make. Like, you know what I mean, you get the rope in any local hardware shop. You'll get the real wire in your local florist shop. Now, if your local florist shop maybe hasn't got real wire, ask them have they got rolls of twine. They probably have a twine called hand-tied twine, and that will do exactly the same job. Or again, when you're in the hardware shop, maybe ask them about a little bunch of, a little roll of twine, any sort of kind of like baling twine at all, and that would do the exact same technique for wrapping it on. And you're not going to see it because like each bunch of greenery kind of hides the last bunch. So again, what I've just been doing there is adding in a bunch of greenery to the right hand, the left hand side, and then a little tiny bunch kind of in the middle. And I'm probably going to leave this at the 4 hydrangeas. I think it'll probably be enough. I'm not going to use that one because it's just a bit flat looking. Here's a lovely one. So you can see like they're nice and crispy. So these are all dried, and just in case anybody's watching, if you're watching this late, go back to the very beginning and watch it from the beginning, because I do explain about drying out the hydrangea flowers. I would absolutely love, if you are watching this on Facebook or Instagram, that you would click share. Just helps me to kind of build up our social media interaction, and that if you would click share. And if you're watching it maybe on YouTube, that you would give us the thumbs up, you know what I mean, that you like it. Hopefully you like it anyway. We also have lots more tutorials on our YouTube channel, like these kind of simple ideas. But if you prefer to learn something a little bit more commercial, why not go to our website? So on our website, we have an online commercial school. And this is where you can do a full program in commercial floristry, professional floristry if you prefer. But we also have what we call like standalone courses, where if you just want to learn how to do a particular design, you'll be able to just download that particular course. So again, you can see with the 4 hydrangeas, it's probably long enough, sufficient for most doors. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm just going to add in another little bit of greenery just at the end, just to finish it off. And you can see where I'm adding in 2 bunches at the same time. When you get a little bit of experience, instead of just adding in the bunch on the right and the bunch on the left, you could actually cheat and add in 2 bunches at the same time. I'm going to trim off some of the ends of the ivy leaves. So where I had wired them together, but some of the stems are just sticking out that little bit, I'm going to trim them off. So again, I'm going to wrap this wire around the stems nice and strong. I'm going to wrap the wire around the rope now. And then I'm going to cut the rope off. So the rest of the rope, I'm going to cut it off. And I'm also going to cut off the real wire. I'm going to use a little piece of sellotape now. And I'm going to wrap it around the real wire and around the rope, okay? And that's going to seal in the end of that there. So the sellotape rope, you get another little piece of sellotape. Packing tape would do exactly the same job. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little piece of florist ribbon. So this is just the paper florist ribbon. And again, I'm just going to wrap it around the ends of the greenery where I finished it off, and also the rope. And it just, you can see this colour green ribbon, I meant to say, is kind of blended in with my materials. So I'm just pulling off any ivy leaves that's in the way. I'm going to secure this with a piece of sellotape, and then I'm going to bandage this around it. So this is going to be covered with material afterwards. So this is basically just kind of like for covering in our mechanics. So I'm just kind of squashing in the ends there. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of sellotape just to secure it. So it's not going to be real neat and tidy here at the end, but it's just a way of hiding that blue rope that's just going to be shown at the very end. So that's where I've just secured the end there, a little bit of sellotape. I'll just kind of hold that up there to let you see it. And I'm going to show you the back of it where you can see the blue rope. Do you see in there, kind of like hidden behind? If you really wanted it, it's not necessary, I don't think. You could maybe cover the blue rope with a bit of green florist ribbon before you started, or you could even use anchor tape, you know what I mean, just to kind of like hide it. I'm now going to make the bow. So to pick up the greens, I have this moss green coloured organza ribbon, so I'm going to use a piece of that. So what I'm going to do is what I call a collar bow. I just need to get a piece of normal florist ribbon, sorry. It's just on the floor here behind me. Should have it up here beside me, sorry for that. So this is just florist ribbon, which you can just tear into thin little pieces. It's great for tying like knots with. That's what I used at the end of the rope, by the way. So to make your organza bow, what you're going to do is pretend that you're making a scarf around somebody's neck, and you're going to cross it in the front. And in the front there, that's where you're going to pinch it together. Just when you're making the actual bow, you can't actually do it around your own neck. So again, round the person's neck, pretend. Cross it under the chin, gather it in, do you know, that way as if you're kind of squashing it in. And then what I like to do is grab the back of the bow, bring it in there where I'm going to pinch it together, and you can see the way the bow actually gets created. Now, I do have a blog on making lots of different bows on our website. So if you go to our website, which is called flowerschoolisland.com, go along the buttons till you find the blog button, and you'll get a lot of up close, personal, step-by-step, going a lot slower than what I'm doing here on how to make all the different types of bows. Using the organza, using the florist ribbon, using hessian, using satin, using what we call the cluster bow, the double cluster bows, the collar bows, the double collar bows. So we have lots and lots of different bows on the blog. I'm going to make a similar bow using the hessian. So again with the hessian, it's as if you were wrapping it around somebody's neck. Just want to make this a little bit smaller. Then bring the back of the neck into the front, and then again pleat, squeeze and gather that in there to see as tight as you want. And then again get a little piece of that florist ribbon, and you can tie it around the middle. You could use a ribbon that blended in with the hessian if you prefer, but I'm going to tie the two of these bows together, so I'm just using that green ribbon. So again, pull the knot really tight. But as I said, I've done these bows quite fast for you for this demonstration. If you need extra tuition on the bows, go to the blog on the website. To be honest, on our website we have lots of video blogs, vlogs as they often call them, on lots of other information. Like even if it's like folding your tissues for your hand ties or prolonging the life of your flowers, there's lots of information on our blog page. So you can see there, I just kind of like fancied off the ends of the ribbon. So now I'm going to place the organza one on top of the hessian one, and I'm going to tie the two of them together. So what I'm going to do first, so as not to confuse myself, I'm going to cut the strings off the back of the hessian bow. Then using the 2 skinny green strings coming out of the organza bow, I'm going to use them to tie on top of the hessian and tie another knot at the back. Again, if you wanted, you could make the one bow and then tie the other one to the back of it while you were actually making it. I just find it easier for a demonstration to do them as 2 separate ones. And now what I'm going to do with this skinny ribbon here at the back is I'm going to tie it to the top of my rope where I finished it off. Do you remember where I added in that piece of florist ribbon to finish it off? So I'm just bringing them strings to the back. I just have it over the edge of the table here so I can kind of tie the knot. I'm tying the knot real tight at the back. I'm going to bring the strings forward and I'm going to tie another knot in the front. Just make sure it's really, really tight, like that's the important part. So again, pull that exceptionally tight, double knot, and then I'm going to cut off the raw bits that's left over. There we go. I'm going to fix the bow around a little bit. With the organza bow, you can make it as fluffy or as full as you want. I'm just going to trim that there a little bit shorter, just so that it balances with my hessian. And there's my rope there with our bow at the top, what we would call our door swag. Now these would be ideal for weddings, and again you could have them that you could make them that direction, you know, like going along a balcony or a bridge or an altar table, or you know yourself, it could be used any occasion, even to maybe go around the doorway of an entrance to a church or a ceremony. That could be used as well. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to drop me an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com. And as I said, make sure to check out some of our commercial online courses on our website. So our website is flowerschoolireland.com. Again, if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, please click share. I'd absolutely love it and appreciate it. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Thanks a million for watching.